Hey guys, Mr. Warren here. It is Monday, March 23. It is our start of our second week of being at home and trying to do school while we're trying to stay safe and healthy. Today on March's Reading Month calendar is Career Day. Dress up for the job that you want to do someday. Now, I'm sure you're looking at me and being like, Mr. Warren, you're wearing a sweatshirt and a hat. You look like a teacher who doesn't have to go to school today. Well, that is my job right now. However, when I was in first grade, I wanted to be a dentist. Yeah. And then when I started thinking about being a dentist and going to the dentist and really watching what they do, putting their hands in people's mouths and spit and blood and pulling teeth out, I was totally grossed out. And I thought, no way do I ever want to be a dentist. Well, my dad was a teacher, and then I started thinking about, I really loved going to school, and then by the fourth grade, I had a teacher named Mr. Brown, not Mr. Brown Can Moo, but his name is Mr. Brown, was probably one of my favorite teachers ever in school. Super fun guy, we had lots of fun, he taught me a lot of things, and I really enjoyed school, and I thought, you know what, someday I want to grow up, I want to have a job as a teacher and get paid for coming to school and having fun with kids every day. So that's kind of the path I took. Now, why am I still dressed like this for my career day today? Well, I thought, like, what if I wasn't a teacher? What would be another job that I'd like to do? I mean, there's a lot of things I like to do. I love to play sports. I love to golf and play basketball and football and all those things. But I would never make it as a professional athlete, even though that would be super cool. But then I started thinking about, I really love to write and draw. And one of my heroes, one of my literary inspirations, you guys know, is Mo Willems, the author of the Pigeon books and Elephant and Piggy and Knuffle Bunny and all of those stories. So I thought, if I wasn't a teacher, maybe I would want to be a writer. Now, if you're a writer, you don't have to dress up fancy anyway. You could just wear your everyday clothes. Remember Dr. Seuss? Half the time he wrote his stories and stuff, he was probably in his pajamas at home, just doodling around. So today, for our Reading Month activity, dress up like your job day, I'm actually going to be kind of doing a writing lesson for you. And I'm going to teach you how to draw the pigeon, and I'm going to lead you into making your very own pigeon adventure. So let's turn this camera around and get started. So there we have our friend the pigeon. And this was Mo Willems' very first book, Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus. And he experimented with this character and this story, and it ended up being such a famous, popular story that many, many other pigeon stories came after it. So the pigeon is a really fun and easy character to draw and color and to write about. So let's get started. I did send your mom and dad an email attachment with this paper that shows you step by step how to draw the pigeon. But I'm going to lead you through, so if you want to print that off at home, you can do that and you can follow along in case you forget. If we were at school, I would have this, you would have this in your writing binder. And this is an activity we do at school at the end of the year for Writer's Workshop. Unfortunately, this year with school being closed now and who knows how much longer, I'm not sure we're going to get an opportunity to do this writing project even if we do get back to school. So I thought, hey, let's try it now. If you're at home and you want something to do that will last you all week, this is a great activity. So you can print this off and have it on hand, or you can just follow along with this video. I'm going to use a whiteboard today because I'm going to be drawing and erasing and showing you lots of different things. So for the pigeon, the very first thing that we do is we always start with his head. All right, so you just make a circle or an oval shape for his head first. Pretty easy to do. Inside that circle, you draw another circle. Now this circle's smaller than the first circle and kind of makes it look like a donut, but that's going to be his eye. And depending on where you want the pigeon to look, you color in part of that circle. So if you want to have him looking this way, you draw it there. If you want him to have him looking behind, you color it in up top. Okay, the next thing we do is we add his beak. And for the beak, you do a little shape like that, and then you go about halfway and you draw a line back for the bottom beak. Now that's if his mouth is closed. If you want his mouth to be open, you could easily draw a top beak like this and a bottom beak like that to make it look like his mouth is open and he's talking, which you might want to do later on when you're writing. Okay, so let's erase that again. All right, so we'll just go back to his normal beak shape. Next thing I do is I draw his neck 2 straight lines down like that. And then his body, I kind of curve out his chest a little bit and come up to a point, and then draw a straight line from his neck back over there. Kind of like a teardrop or a raindrop shape. Okay, and then for his wing, you can just draw a line like that and another one connecting, and I'll show you later on too, if we want to make him moving, what you can do. Legs are simple, just a stick down with 2 little toe sticks coming off. Do that twice. And last but not least, you give him a little, I call it a collar, on his neck. And as simple as that, you have the pigeon. All right, and that's if he's looking to the sideways, kind of like he is in the cover of Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus. Now, that's not how he always looks, okay? And we can even change our pigeon. If you wanted it to be a girl pigeon, you could very easy add some eyelashes, like that. Maybe, I don't know, a necklace around her neck, like that. You could, if you wanted to, if you had different color markers, maybe give her some lipstick on her beak, okay? You could do that if you wanted it a girl pigeon, all right? Other ways to draw the pigeon when the pigeon is moving, because if you drew the pigeon like that on every single page, then your story would be a little bit boring. But we know the pigeon talks and the pigeon moves and the pigeon does fun things. Sometimes our pigeon is begging, okay, because when he wants to drive the bus, he's begging, so he might be looking up, and we could have his beak coming back this way and he's talking, so it's open this time. We could draw his neck sideways with his body kind of coming back like this. But now this time with his wings, we're gonna put them coming up like that. And sometimes you have to erase some lines like that. And then maybe the other wing is like that. Now it looks like he's begging. You know, like when you wanna ask mom and dad for something that you really, really want. Please, 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 please. You could do the pigeon's arms like that. Sometimes you can give them a little expression with an eyebrow too, floating off, okay? Another way you could draw a pigeon. Sometimes pigeon doesn't say anything. Sometimes pigeon gets a little grumpy because he's sick and tired of you telling him no. So with the eye, you could draw a straight line across like this, and you could even color in this top part to make it look like his eyelid because he's kind of grumpy. Okay, and then in the neck, and then this time we're gonna make it look like the pigeon's hands are resting kind of on his hips, like that, and then his body would be off this way, his chest kind of like this, little legs down. And if you had an expression like this as a pigeon, you might even do this above his head. You do those kind of tornado lines like that, and he's like, really? Like he's frustrated. That's kind of a fun pigeon move, okay? You have all kinds of expression that you can show with the pigeon's eyes, okay? If we just focus on his eyeballs, you know, you could do an eye like that, like we just showed you. You could do an eye like this, different expression. Sometimes pigeon gets really upset and angry, and he kind of has what I call a crazy eye, like that, where it's all squiggly, and then you got some lines like this where he's freaking out. Ah! You know, it's kind of the wild, crazy eye. another thing. Sometimes he's sleepy. You might even have an eye where it's not open. It just has a line like that. Okay? Gives a different expression to his face, like if he had his eyes closed. Okay? Now, the one cool thing about the Pigeon books is what you'll see is Pigeon is telling the story. Okay? We talk a lot about dialogue. And in the Pigeon stories, Mo Willems makes up the story, but he lets the pigeon do the talking. The pigeon is the one who's talking directly to the reader. So when you're reading Pigeon books, you're actually having a conversation with the character. He's asking you, oh, will you please let me drive the bus? And then you say, no. You turn the page and he's like, please, come on. And he's trying to persuade you. I'll give you $5. I'll be your best friend. Your mom would probably let me. All of those things. But then he gets to the middle of the book, and this is where he kind of throws his pigeon temper tantrum, and he freaks out. And these are the fun pages, but they're really tricky to draw. So, like in Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus, sorry, I should have started with his head first. Okay, we still start with his head. His eye is big, and it's all wild and crazy, and he's got all these lines around his eye, and his mouth is open because he's screaming and yelling. You might even have some voice marks coming out like that, okay? And then his wings, you know, he's flapping his wings like crazy. And to show that movement with his body, you're drawing all these kind of wings all over the place, and it can be kind of a little bit messy. Here's his body normally. Okay, and he's got these wings, and he's flapping his wings all over this place. His legs are flying in the air. He's even got, and it's trying to show motion like that. And then you're drawing motion lines all over the place to show that his wings are going like crazy like that. And then sometimes you'll even see little feathers flying off because he's flapping his wings so hard. So for the feathers, you just kind of do this oval shape with a little stick on it and a line in the middle. So you can show feathers going all over the place like this. Like he's flapping his wings so hard he's losing his feathers. Okay, now this page gets a little tricky, and you might, if it gets too messy, you might be like, oh, I messed up. I need to erase some. That's why I always, when I do my pigeon stories, I always use a pencil first, because if I make a mistake, I can erase it, or I can draw it neater and fix it. Okay, it'll take you a little bit of time to get good at it, and you know, if you want to fix things or draw some other things or whatever you want to do, it's no big deal. But you're really, on this page, you're really showing him, like when he's like, just let me drive the bus, and he's screaming and freaking out, okay? So that's kind of the freak out page. But here's what you want to do once you get really good. I would say practice drawing the pigeon. Start with the very easy one like I showed you at the beginning. You know, just the standard pigeon. Draw the head and the eye, and maybe make his eye looking up. Then you draw his neck down and his body off like this, and his little stick feet and his wing, kind of like that, the beak and the collar. Once you get really good at that, then you can start, well, hey, maybe I want to make it look like, you know, one wing's up here and the other wing's coming down here, and you can erase some lines. You can move his arms around a little bit. Maybe you say, hey, what if I want his neck, instead of being straight down, maybe he's hanging his head a little bit, and I want it like this, like he's disappointed. Like, oh, I never get to do anything, and he's really sad. Maybe he's crying. You draw some tears like that, okay? So you can move him around a little bit and change the way he's acting and feeling, okay? Practice, practice, practice. If you have a whiteboard at home, that's great. Use that because you can draw on it, you can erase, and you can try again and over and over and over again. If you don't have a whiteboard and you just have some paper, use a pencil and practice drawing all little pigeons all over the place and trying to make him look and do different things, okay? Practice, 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 because after you're done practicing, then my whole goal is let's use this and write a story. let's make up our very own pigeon story. And I will show you how to do that in our very next video.